They was like, "Hey, bro, you need to read that Rich Dad Poor Dad book," and I just was like, "Nah," because I was reading a Kobe book at the time, and then I was like, "You know what? Let me just listen. Let me take that advice." And when I picked that book up, I could not put it down. Like, it it's like the information in that book just blew my mind. It was like, wow. It that was the first book I read where I was at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm pacing back and forth in my living room, just like this is unbelievable. So I want to take this time to not only give you your flowers and not only give JT his flowers. I just want to tell you a thank you for even putting me onto that book, because if y'all had not put me onto that book, then I don't even know when I was going to even read it. And because I read it, it like created a ripple effect. Um, I started reading it and I just couldn't stop talking about it. I started ranting to my wife, and eventually she started reading it. And then I tell Patch about it and my other friend Justin about it. They started reading it. And it's like everyone that asks me about books now, that always be the first book I recommend, bro. Always. So I just want to tell you thank you for that, bro. Thank you so much for putting me onto the book. So, hey, first of all, could you see that countdown happening just now?
Yeah, it showed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha. Man. First of all, I don't even know where to start because I feel like this is a long time coming, and I think the very before we really jump into what we're doing, I feel like it's important that we let the audience know what it is that we plan on doing, what we plan on creating, it, and how we plan on adding value to everybody else. So I think that's important that we do that first. Um, so I'll go first, and I'll let you go next. So for me, it was a combination of things. One, and I got to give major shout out to Myron, because Myron always say that if you're already doing the thing, just turn the camera on, just turn it on,
Yeah.
turn the camera on, turn the camera on. And I realized for a long time that uh, I talk about books all the time. Like we have these book conversations all the time, all the time, all the time. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
why not just turn the camera on? So I pondered on the thought for a long time, maybe like not a long time, but for a couple of weeks, maybe like a month and a half, or I was pondering on the thought. Say, you know what? I really don't know nobody else in my circle that read as much as I do, other than Trey. So I was like, let me hit up my boy Trey and see if he down to collaborate on something like this. But yeah, Myron, and then it was another video that Myron did about I think it was something about recording uh, your perspective on the books that you've read. So I said, you know what? Let's collaborate, Trey, and shoot. I hit him up, and then I'll now this is where I'll let him introduce it. You know what? I even forget to intro. I didn't even introduce who I am. Well, I guess people already know who I am because we already have a podcast. But let me let him introduce himself, tell y'all who he is, and how all of this came about. So go ahead, bro. Your turn.
Dang, okay, it's different. So, I mean, if you guys don't follow me, on Instagram, it's Watch Me Make It, right? The Watch Me, the number three instead of the E. I'm just, God fearing man with a family that's doing all he's can do all he do. I'm overstudying. That's doing all he's can. I'm overstudying on this thing because it's live. But I'm just a man that's after God's heart and then doing what I can to succeed in life, right? By reading these books. It's funny that DK asked me about this because we talk about books like crazy. And before, when I used to read books, literally, I could only read 10 pages and then I would fall asleep. So then I read this book called Limitless, and then it taught me how to read faster. And when you read faster, you actually putting your brain to work, right? But long story short, right? Entrepreneur, doing what I can to make my family dream better, think better, and even feel better. In a nutshell.
You just said that doing all that you can to succeed in life. What is your definition of success?
I would say success is, for me, it's almost like mastery, right? It's taking it to another level. Not necessarily financially, but just becoming good at that one thing, achieving it.
You said
To
taking
before
it
you
to
would
another
struggle at
level.
it. Yeah,
You said taking it to another level. What is it?
I would say, case in point, let's say somebody that's successful in basketball, right? before they had trouble going with their left hand, doing layups. And now they perfected, they're succeeding because now they're doing reverse layups. You know, they're using their left hand just like their right hand. Before they had to struggle with
Right.
doing it for the first time. So for me, that looks like success.
Gotcha. Okay, I just wanted to know what your definition of success was, bro.
Yeah.
Just to get some clarity. But anyway, so what this is that we doing is that we're collaborating on. So we have both been on this personal development journey for a very long time now. Well, not a very long time, but for a few years now. Um, what year would you say we started, bro? Well, I don't know if you started before me or was it around the same time, but uh, I just remember that year when we all met up in the clubhouse,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's when it started for me. And I was reading the Kobe Bryant book, and you and JT was like, "Hey, bro, you need to read that Rich Dad Poor Dad book." And if you could remember, do you remember what year that was?
No, it had to be like what, 3 years ago?
3 years ago.
2, 3 years ago. Yeah, two,
Yeah,
3 years
yeah,
ago
two,
at the
maybe
max.
three, maybe three.
3, yeah, at the max. Yeah,
So this is what 24. That was 21, 2021.
yeah, yeah. Because I was doing insurance.
2021.
Yeah,
Gotcha. So that's 2021. Yeah. So just to give you all a backstory, that's when the personal development journey began for me because they was like, bro, you need to read that Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and I was like, at the current time I was reading the Kobe book, and I know I'm going off on the tangent right now, but I just want to set the stage for how all of this came about. So as we progress through this, y'all would see the timeline and the journey of how where we started, where we at now, and where we plan on going. But they was like, hey, bro, you need to read that Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and I just was like, nah, because I was reading the Kobe book at the time, and then I was like, you know what? Let me just listen. Let me take that advice. And when I picked that book up, I could not put it down. Like it it's like the information in that book just blew my mind. It was like, wow. It that was the first book I read where I was at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm pacing back and forth in my living room, just like this is unbelievable. So I want to take this time to not only give you your flowers and not only give JT his flowers. I just want to tell you thank you for even putting me onto that book because if y'all had not put me onto that book, then I don't even know when I was going to even read it. And because I read it, it like created a ripple effect. Um, I started reading it and I just couldn't stop talking about it. I started ranting to my wife, and eventually she started reading it. And then I tell Patch about it and my other friend Justin about it. They started reading it. And it's like everyone that asks me about books now, that always be the first book I recommend, bro. Always. So I just want to tell you thank you for that, bro. Thank you so much for putting me onto the book. So yeah, so basically what we doing on this show, man, we just decided to collaborate and we gonna give our own perspective on the books that we've read. And we have read many books, the same books, and every time we read the same books, we always talk about it on the phone. So I was like, bro, let's just turn the camera on, bro, and just see. Let's talk about the books, and we could talk about the books, our perspective, and how these things apply to our lives, and how we could add it to our lives as well if it in some way, shape, or form adds value. So that's what we're here to do, and I am excited and I'm honored to even I'm very honored to do this with you, bro, because you one of the few people that I know read at a high level that I do. So yeah, man, I'm grateful that you even allow me to share this space with you, bro. So yeah, let's make it happen.
let's go, man. And it's funny you said who you passed the book down to because besides the Bible, that book is a requirement to read in my house. So I read it, my
Right.
wife read it, all my kids read it. They have to read it. And then if anybody reach out to me and say, "Hey Trey, how can I do this?" I say, "Read Rich Dad Poor Dad, then call
Right.
me back." And then I know you're serious because if you don't, then I can't help you.
Hey, we only been 8 minutes into this right now, and like my level of excitement is just so amazing, bro. Like I'm very excited, bro. And you know what's and to add to that, well, before I add to that, let me say this too. Another reason why I feel like I needed to do this was because this doesn't pull me away from the thing that I already do. It doesn't require no more energy to do this anyway because this is something I naturally love doing, and I feel like you love doing it too, bro. So,
Yeah.
um, this is not only encouragement for other people to turn their camera on with the thing that you love doing. So yeah, but I was talking to my wife maybe like a year or two ago after she read the book, and we had some great conversations about it. And I told her like, man, as I get into business, if anybody want to do business with me and they haven't read Rich Dad Poor Dad, we cannot do business. We cannot do business
Facts.
because it's just so eye opening, bro. And just like you said, in your household, that's a requirement. Same thing for mine, bro. Like my kids, what they 10, 5, and 2, but as they get older, must read. Like it's a
Yeah.
non-negotiable, bro. Non-negotiable. So yeah, man. We don't even have a. Well, let me say this as well. Initially, the name of my podcast was The Hour of Change, and actually, Trey was the one that actually gave me the name of the podcast because I was about to interview. Who was it that I was about to interview when you named it when you gave me that name? I think it was Tommy.
I don't know.
Tommy, yeah.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
about
yeah.
to interview Tommy. Yeah. And he was like, man, this is the hour, bro. This is the hour of change, bro. And it clicked. But then a few after I left the podcast summit this year with podcast summit, if y'all don't know, was a conference that David Shines and Donnie Wiggins and Social Proof Podcast put together. I think this is their second year doing it in 2024. But after I left the podcast summit, I just had some clarity, some things I need to figure out. And the podcast summit was in July earlier this year. We are in October now, but a few weeks ago, it dawned on me. I was like, I want to revamp my podcast because I no longer want to just interview entrepreneurs. I want to, I want to connect with people that have read the same books as me because that tells me on a very fundamental level, bro. That tells me that you and I connect because we have similar interests. So
Yeah.
why not talk to people that have the similar interests as you? So, and in that moment, I was like, okay, I love read, grow, inspire. I feel like read, grow, inspire. I feel like it embodies who I am, who I'm becoming every day because I love reading. Um, I love growing. Growth is a priority for me. Then I just love to inspire people. Like, uh, I truly love to inspire people from the way I articulate myself, the way I pass on information, and I feel like that's something that you embody as well, bro. Like, you
Yeah.
love reading. You always want to grow because you one of the people that always challenge me. You challenged me and Pat. You challenge. It's always some type of challenge we doing to keep growing. And I feel like you are also on that journey to where you always want to inspire people, bro, because you put out your messages to the world, you make your YouTube videos, you make your short clips. So I feel like in a sense that embodies who you are too. So I decided to rename the podcast Regrow Inspire. So yeah, so I know we just took up a whole 12 minutes to just do a brief introduction. I feel like that was important though before we actually jump into the actual um, podcast. But let me turn it over to you. Anything you got to say before we get started, bro?
Nah, I mean, you said it all. I'm just glad that I'm invited to be in this space with you, because I wouldn't have done it, right? Somebody always asks me if I had a podcast, and if I did, they would listen to me because I inspire them. So this is actually a dope thing. And then it's not a shiny object syndrome because we talk about the books anyway, or I'll send you pages of books that I've read. I'm like, bro, check this out. What do you think? The only
Yeah.
difference is, like you said, we're pressing the record and viewing it to the world.
There we go. What you mean by shiny object syndrome for the people that don't know? What does that mean?
Okay, so shiny object syndrome. So you could be focused on one thing, and you see something that makes sense, and you deter your vision, and you just start going towards that, and you let go of something else, right? And there's so many different shiny object syndromes in this world. You have to just literally be focused.
Have you ever experienced that before?
What? Yes, I have. When I did insurance and real estate, man, I did my real estate deal, made a good bit, and then I said, you know what? I'm gonna park this, and I want to go ahead and do an insurance, and that was my shiny object syndrome. I literally lost everything by following a shiny object syndrome. what I should have done is probably just focus on the thing I was doing. However, everything looks shiny until you get up close to it and you see there's no shine at all.
What's you said you made a good bit. What is a good bit?
A good bit. I mean, it was only what the profit was 38,000. I split it with somebody I did the deal with, so I walked away with 19,000 and some change. So
Right.
it wasn't too bad.
So how do you go from making that to just switching? Like what about that shiny object syndrome was like, you know what, let me park this and do that.
Great question. So I was sold on the end goal of insurance, selling my company, being able to pass it down to my kids. In reality, when I look at them and I was just talking to them about it, they didn't want nothing to really do with it. So I was just like, yeah, this is not it. So I was in it for them. However, they didn't even want to take part of it, and they weren't nowhere near around the business. So I was just like, it doesn't make sense.
Your kids?
Yeah. It
How
was
old are your
about the money
kids?
aspect. So my kids are what? 18, 16, and 15.
18, 16, 15. Got you. Got you. Got you. Man, look, I could keep going down a rabbit hole, but let's get to business. Let's get to business real quick.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
the book we decided to start with was Rich Dad Poor Dad because this is like I'm gonna give the people what this book means to me, and I want you to give the people what the book means to you. But for me, this book was the book that just made me, like I tell everybody, this is the book that really made me become a fiend for information. You know how people become a fiend for drugs? They become a fiend for just different vices. But this book really made me become a fiend for information. Like, it was like, okay, you read that one? Okay, what's next? What's next? I need more and more and more and more and more. So, this is what did it for me. This is what started me on a personal development journey. So, I highly, 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 highly recommend this book because it will teach you some stuff that you didn't even know. And one of the biggest things I got from the book is that the things that you see today is all a facade. Until you read this book, it's like, wow, it's like two different worlds that it's like a game being played. And it's like they have blinders over your eyes so you don't see what's really going on. And this book did that for me. So, yeah. Go ahead, bro. What you got?
Thanks for. It's funny because I could tell you a short backstory on how I even started to read this book.
Yeah, let's
So
hear
it
it.
was back in like what? It was back in 2014. Me and all my friends working at AT&T. This guy named Cody. He was like, my dad made me read Rich Dad and Poor Dad when I was in the ninth grade. We was poor, but he made me read this book, and I was like, I never heard anybody say that. So then I went. It was like 3 months passed. I bought the Audible book and I was listening to it, and I was just blown away because it felt like I was listening to a movie. I just said, who thinks like this? So with this book, it was an introduction of me really thinking different, right? Being told what you can and cannot do and how the rich think, right? And how just to switch up your vocabulary and see the world through a different lens. So this book was the intro of me, not thinking how everybody else think. I always thought different, but this one literally set everything on fire. And I couldn't take any advice from anybody else that wasn't thinking like this. So it was a separator from me, my parents, everybody that didn't think this way. And I got hooked to the information he was sharing because, in school we was learning one way. And then reading this book, for me, he debunked everything that I thought I knew.
Right. Yeah. So you read it what in 2014?
No, I listened to the Audible in 2014. I didn't read the book until like, what was it, like 2019?
2019. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, well, let's jump into it. Well, we said 20 minutes. We at 18 minutes now. So what we gonna do, bro?
Sheesh.
What we
Hey,
gonna
I
do?
guess we gotta keep rolling, man. Give the
We
people
gonna
some more insight.
Okay, bad. Well, let's jump into this. We're gonna do chapter one. We're gonna do a couple things out of chapter one, and then yeah, then catch up next week.
Okay.
Um, so I have the big book. Which one do you have?
I got the mini, the pocket-sized book.
Pocket size.
It's
Okay,
fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, bad. So we're gonna be off a little bit on page numbers, but let me start with the very first page, bro. Um, Also, I cannot tell you how many copies of this book I didn't gave away, bro. Every time I bought one, I give it away, give it away, give it away. But this one now, this is my personal copy that I'm no longer giving away. That's why I bought the big one, because this for me now is like my personal copy. But anyway, going to chapter one, the very first page, bro, page one on chapter one. It was where it says "Rich Dad Poor Dad" was released 20 years ago on my 50th birthday.
Uh-huh.
It says, unlike the Beatles story, the book was not an immediate commercial success. It was not a critical success. In fact, the book release and the firestorm of criticism that followed was quite the opposite. When I read that, it was like, for me, that told me, stop expecting immediate success when you do something. Because he said that the book was not an immediate commercial success. And I feel like so many times when we start businesses, when we start projects, when we start something new, we always, well, not always, but a lot of times people tend to expect immediate success. And for a guy that's had over 1 million copies sold on this book, telling you that, hey, it was not a immediate success, that was a reminder for me that, hey, don't expect immediate success. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because like Myron says, one of the greatest powers that human beings possess is the power of expectation. So, but when I read this, it was like, hey, don't expect to be immediately successful. So that's what I got from it, bro. And then so yep. That's what I got from this right here. And then another one for me was where it says, Rich Dad, right, the paragraph right under that, where it says, Rich Dad Poor Dad was originally self-published because every book publisher we approached turned his book down. A few rejection slips, comments, offered things like, you don't know what you were talking about. That was deep for me, because he started something, went to publishers to get his book published, and people rejected him because they was like, you don't know what you're talking about. So that right there just gave me validation, like, hey, if you have a dream, go after it, bro, because don't let what someone else think about your dream deter you away from that thing. And if you believe in your idea, you have to keep pushing forward even when they tell you no, because that's what happened. Everyone told him no. So that this is a reminder for me on page 1 to keep going, even when they say you don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, what you got for me, bro? I don't know what's going on.
Is that my Wi-Fi?
You hear me? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, you just froze your screen. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You did too.
Okay, man, that was a
We
glitch.
here
I
now.
guess too much information, huh?
Right.
Oh, you said what I got from it? Let me see. I liked where and we had got into it, me and my sister, right? Not got into it bad, but just I challenged her way of thinking. Right? It says, one dad said the reason I'm not rich is because I have you kids. The other said the reason I am rich, I mean I must be rich, is because I have kids. So then I challenged my sister. I was just like, you have to go after it. You have to make it happen. You have to become rich because you have these responsibilities, right? How dare you say I don't want to become rich? And I'll do it when my kids grow up. And me and my dad used to always go back and forth. And I used to tell him, like, Dad, that's too late. If you're waiting to do X, Y, and Z by the time you retire, it's going to be too late because you're thinking like you're working, right? So you're not going to be able to take as much risk as somebody is starting, right? So you were converse to just saying that, hey, that's too risky. I'm going to do this. I'm going to lay back. And I thought about what happened with Robert Kiyosaki's dad, right? He tried to invest and become this entrepreneur after he retired, and he wasn't risk averse. Therefore, he ended up dying poor. Not saying that my dad's gonna do that, because now he's getting it right. But it's when you come with this information, like his information separates you from your mom, your dad, because they
Right.
think a certain way, which is okay, right? So when I read this, it literally challenged everything I was taught,
And you know what?
because they never
So
heard anything like this.
right. And you know what? To add to that too, you said that I think you said a rich dad Robert Kiyosaki dad decided to invest after he got done with his work after he retired. But
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm thinking like, and I just thought about this too. It's like, okay, if you spend all your years working as an employee, you are allowing yourself to be programmed as an employee for so long that when your retirement comes, you will still be thinking as an employee. You will still have to like, even when you retire, you still have to go through a whole transformation to okay, now I
Yeah.
want to be a business owner, and that takes years of learning too. That's a whole nother learning curve because you've been programmed for the last 10, 15, 20 years on being an employee. But now that you want to make that switch onto entrepreneurship and invest, that takes unlearning and relearning, which is another process.
Yeah. And it's a separated because remember, he did the ice cream shop, I believe, and it was like a franchise. However, he didn't have the muscle and the mindset to keep on going. Once he ran through adversity, that was it.
Right. Yep.
So no, I love the book.
Yep. For me, one of my next one was okay. Here we go. I'm gonna do five. You do five for chapter
Okay.
one. Yeah. So I did two already. I'm gonna do another one. It says, "Rich Dad Lesson Number One: The rich don't work for money," and it says the lesson: the increase in income are going to entrepreneurs and investors, not to employees, not to the people who work for money. The increase in income is going to entrepreneurs and investors. And the reason I find that true is um, because entrepreneurs and investors are providing jobs. It goes back to the levels of value that Myron talk about as well. Um, Employees work with their hands, and I think that that level of value is implementation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So implementation is always the lowest level of value because you're working with your hands. But entrepreneurs and investors, they working at a um, help me out, trade. What level is that?
What is it?
Imagination,
Communication. Imagine it. Yeah.
imagination level, and at the imagination level, you the one that's coming up with the ideas and then making it happen. So, for me, when I hear him say the increase in income are going to entrepreneurs and investors, that tells me that the people that are building the businesses are gonna get paid more money because not only do not only do entrepreneurs they pay employees, and you can help me out with this more because I heard you break this down better than I did, but you had said something like employees are just paid just enough to stay where they at. But I'm gonna let you elaborate on it more because I know you know how to break it down better than I do.
Yeah, so they stay at where they're at. Case in point, I remember when I worked at AT&T, I was excited. I was like, "Mama, I made it." I came from Sprint until this guy broke it down, and it literally kind of went past my mind until I look at it now. He said, "What you make the company opens up 25 jobs for the person I was working for." And mind you, there was 10 people in there. So
Right.
the revenue that we bring in opens up 25 positions at that job, and there were 10 people in there. So they only
Wow.
pay you a small piece of what you bring in. And then job only stands for just over broke. So they're barely keeping your head over water when working a job. So it's insane.
And that's why it's important that we go there and build our own businesses because we not only for ourselves but for our families as well. So that's what you just said just reminded me that like to stay on the right path to continually build something for our families, bro. That's super important.
No, it is. And then if I could piggyback on that, right? People don't understand a job is not just terrible, right? Everybody has to work, not has to work a job, they do a job. However, you have to leverage the job just like they're leveraging you. You're getting the experience to work a job, so you want it to leverage. A job is just a vehicle for the next stop. And I always tell my daughter, she's 18, right? And I told her, yeah, you're working in a system. However, you got to look at what you want. What do you want out of this system as you work this job? It's all about leverage. If you're not leveraging them, they're leveraging you. So you have to go in there with the mindset of what am I getting out of this? And then what can I take to the next level?
There we
And
go.
how can I take to the next level? I'm sorry.
And what you saying that too, I want to tell people where I am at right now. So as this
Okay.
grow, they'll literally get to see the whole journey. Like the journey begins now. Like that's been pondering on my mind now. Like the journey begins now. Like, and for a long time I've been this person where I wanted to hold in what I'm doing and then show it to the world when it's done. But I heard Donnie
Mm-hmm.
Wiggins say one time, she's like, I don't believe in the philosophy of not telling people what you're doing and then show up when you get done. She said, I believe in telling the world what I'm doing because when people see you doing something and they see you actively going or they're getting it, looking to make it happen, people will start to rally behind you because they love to see people that's doing something. And not only that, it also give you some level of accountability because now people are expecting you to do things, and not to say that you're doing what you're doing because of people, but and I don't want to get that misconstrued, but it also provides uh, a level of what's the word I'm looking for, a level of accountability, and I feel like that's one thing that we are gonna get from this podcast, well, from each other, level of accountability. But anyway, what I was saying was that when I heard you say that your daughter is working a job, that just reminded me, you know what, let me be transparent myself and tell people exactly where I am at today on October 24th, 2024, where I'm at, and so they could see, dang, 6 months later, that dude quit his job. He full-time entrepreneurship now.
Yeah.
So right now I am currently a server, a waiter at Sawgrass Steakhouse here in Houston, and that's what I'm doing now. And I eventually want to get into full time entrepreneurship. So that's where I'm at, and I'm just continuously growing. So yeah,
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm gonna tell my side too, my part. You know, I'm in Vegas, right, and I'm not a sleazy used car salesman, but I do work at Drive Time and we sell used cars, and I have some crazy stories about that. But I can't go into deep because I don't want to get sued or anything like that,
right,
and it's all love.
yeah,
But my takeaway is, you know, when he was talking about when you say you can't, you stop thinking, right? But when you say you can, you basically
where is
problem
that?
solve, and that's how.
What is
That is
what is that in the
on.
book? Read it
Let me
verbatim.
see. All right, cool. That man said, "Don't summarize, huh?"
Yeah,
All right, let me see. It
chapter
says,
one.
chapter one says, "My soon-to-be rich dad would explain that by
Hold
automatically
on, hold on,
saying."
hold on, hold on, hold on. Wait. I'm not
It's in
even
the
on chapter
introduction.
one. Yeah. I was just about to say that I'm not even on chapter one. What I just read came from the milestones in hindsight, like the very, very
Yeah, yeah.
beginning. Okay, so you are at the introduction.
From introduction, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So he said, my soon to be rich dad would explain that by automatically saying the words, I can't afford it, your brain stops working. By asking the question, how can I afford it, your brain is put to work. So it's just switching those two things. And a lot of people will say, I can't do something, or I can't do something, and then they stop. And then when I read that, I said, oh man, I'm problem solving. How can I do this?
Right.
Right? Finding the problem, not stopping, because a lot of times, you know, when you grow up, all I've heard is, no, you can't do this, or I can't do this. This costs too much, so I can't make it happen. When he said that, it literally switched everything in my brain to say, no, how can I? Yeah, I
Right.
was like mind blown. I promise you, when I was listening to this book, I thought it was a movie. I thought it was fake. I was just like, how in the world is a 9 year old wanting to make money and he's
Right.
going on this journey? Because I was not in that realm, you know? I grew up poor, so it was the opposite. But when
Right.
I heard this and I heard this philosophy, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm really learning for the first time.
And you know what? And to add to that too, you just said you was thinking how does a 9-year-old think like that? That just tells me that hey, how important is it for us as parents to keep our kids thinking like that, bro? How
Yeah,
important is that? Super
it's
important,
everything.
bro.
Yeah.
It's everything. And also, you just said that in the book you said one dad said, I can't afford it. Let me give you a quick story real quick. A matter of fact, last night, Caden said to me, which is the 10-year-old, Caden said, he said, DK, I'm really getting used to, he said, I'm really getting used to finding other words to say other than try and can't. And I'm really getting used to saying yes, sir. Because, and when he said it, bro, I was like,
Sheesh. Let's go.
there we go. Bro, it was such a proud dad moment that he is finding other words. Because this is what I told my kids, like, hey, do not say can't, do not say try. Those are forbidden words in my household. And they know now, even to like one day, Seven was doing something, and he's like, well, I'm trying to do that. And he did this. He said, I'm sorry, DK, I'm not supposed to say, I'm not supposed to say try. I'm sorry. But it's like, at 5 years old, he know. So his brain, his mind is going to develop at such levels. Like, I can't wait to see where they're going to be in the next 5 years, bro. It's going to be
That is
unbelievable.
fire.
But even one night, as I was stretching, Seven was about to go to sleep, and he came to me. He's like, uh, "Can I tell you a secret?" I said, "What's up?" He said, "Never say try and never say can't. They are bad words." I said, "There we go. There we go." I said,
That's
I
fire.
said, I said, why? I said, why you can't say can't? He said, Philippians 4 verse 13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Man, I said, that's my
Sheesh.
boy. At
Yeah,
five
that's
years
fire.
old, he know what's up, bro. I know what's up.
Sheesh.
I can't wait to see what my boy's gonna be in the next 5 years, bro. And you know what? As as we are as we are doing this first episode together, bro, like
Hmm.
you was saying before we actually did it, you was like, man, that one thing that we're gonna enjoy about doing this podcast together is that we don't have to look for content to create, because now we are pulling from our experiences. Like,
Oh, yes.
as we're reading and as you say something, I'm now pulling from my life experience. I'm pulling from conversations me and my kids have. I'm pulling from conversations me and my wife has, and those are actual life experience, bro. That I don't have to make up. It's true. This is like
That's so true.
free content that we don't have to make up. So I'm actually seeing it happen in real time. What you said to me a few days ago.
Sheesh, that's fire. Boy,
Yeah,
seven,
bro.
come with it.
Yeah, bro. I'm gonna just do one more because we got 36 minutes. And I know we're supposed to be at 20. So let me just do one
Okay,
more and then we're gonna wrap it up.
go ahead. Close this out.
Yeah, let's close this out. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do one more. You do one more. I'm gonna let you close this out because you that guy. You that guy.
Okay.
It says, let me see. Okay, let's go here. He said that one dad taught me how to write an impressive resume so I could find a good job. The other taught me how to write a strong business and financial plan so I could create jobs.
Oh
Oh
my
my
gosh.
gosh. Hey,
Sheesh.
hey, hey, let me say it one more time for the people in the back because I don't think they caught that, boy. That's deep. He said, one dad. Matter of fact, before I even go into that, I'm gonna let you tell people what the whole concept is of one dad and the other dad. Like, what is that about, so they can have a more clear understanding.
Okay, yeah, so he's saying one dad, right? So he has his friend's dad is rich, right? Entrepreneur making money, and then it's
Hmm.
his dad that is the employee, that's a school teacher. So that's why he's always referring to my rich dad, my poor dad.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yep. So, um, he said one dad taught me how to write an impressive resume so I could find a good job, which I'm assuming that is his poor dad, which is his real dad that
Yeah.
works for the government. So his
Hmm.
his his real dad taught him how to write an impressive resume to find a good job. Then his friend dad, who's an entrepreneur, taught him how to write a strong business and financial plan so he could create jobs. And that is so
Sheesh.
powerful, bro. That's powerful. And
Damn.
growing up, you always hear people tell you, yeah, go to college so you can get a good job, or do this so you can get a good job, and it's always blah 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 so you can get a good job. It's always
Yeah.
that. They never be like, okay, you know what, blah 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 blah, so we could create a business so you could create jobs. So man, That's just so fire, bro. And now I'm thinking like that's something that we could start doing with our kids as well, bro. I mean, I shoot, your kid already entrepreneur one of them already entrepreneur. He doing this thing, but we gonna leave
Oh
that for
yeah, his
another time.
YouTube
But
thing.
his YouTube
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, man, that was powerful to me. That at a young age like that, that's what he got from it.
Okay, shoot. My thing is that's fire, and it's gonna segue into what I'm gonna say. He says, "I've met so many people who say, 'Oh, I'm not interested in money,' yet they'll work a job for 8 hours a day. That's denial of truth. If they weren't interested in money, then why are they working for money?" And I say that it segues into yours because I remember in a conversation, not to blast Patch, because that's the homie, and he was like, "Trey, 95% of the time you always talk about money and succeeding." And now I look back and I said, okay, we both are. Everybody is. Case in point,
Right.
people go to school to get a higher education so they can make more money. They get into debt just to get the job that they want. Yet, because we're entrepreneurs and want to succeed, we're labeled greedy, and that's a wrong thing, right? Which makes zero sense. They learn a different skill, and then the tough thing about it is they go ahead and get these debts, and they talk about time after time after time again that the promotion that they get that always passes them by. But yet we're greedy because we want to make the world a better place. Because they say, entrepreneurs are the ones that fuel the economy.
Right.
But so I just don't get it, And I'm not putting my boy Patch out like that. It's just a funny conversation that I think about all the time. People will work 20 years to get a promotion. That's working
Right.
for money. Isn't that the same thing? But
No,
I don't know.
no, I got you. I think what Patch was just saying is that he would like to incorporate more conversations about God and how can we grow our spirit.
Yeah.
I think that's where he's coming from. I think that he was just saying that he feel like a lot of times the conversation you have is around entrepreneurship, success, making money, and he want to have more conversations. Okay, how could we grow spiritually? But he
That
not here
makes
to defend
sense.
himself, so
Yeah, he not fair. Yeah, so because I was
yeah,
gonna say something else, but yeah. No, that
yeah,
makes sense because I was gonna say, like the book say, okay, yeah, that's cool, but this is going, well, hey, I'm going to go there anyway. But God is a king, and if we're his sons, shouldn't we be going after things he laid out for us?
I agree. I agree with that. I
Yeah.
agree. But like I said, I just think he feels like okay, just as much as we have success conversations and money conversations, we should have conversations that fuel our spirit as well. That's all I think it was.
I got you. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, it's all love. Patrick is like a bro, so
oh
what I mean.
yeah,
It's
that's
no
it's
it's
always
no love
love.
lost. You know what I mean?
It's always
Yeah.
love. And then could you repeat that what you just said again? The takeaway, because I had something I wanted to add to that real quick before we get off of here. Oh, never mind.
Or which one?
Never mind.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
okay.
Repeat it one more time.
Oh, you want to repeat the statement he said?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All he said was, I've met so many people who say, "Oh, I'm not interested in money," yet they'll work a job for 8 hours a day. That's a denial of truth. If they weren't interested in making money, then why are they working?
And what I wanted to add to that was I heard Myron said that people always talk about they don't want to they're not interested in making money, or they don't want to they people look at money as if becoming successful or becoming rich is a bad thing, but he was like, if you would lie about that, you lie about anything. Because he said this what he said that really made me laugh. He said that you spend most of your waking hours working for money, but you gonna tell me that you're not interested in making money? Like, how does that make sense? You spend
Don't.
8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours of your waking hours that you are awake to go make money, but you gonna tell me that? I was like, he's like, if you could lie about that, you lie about anything.
Well, it's the truth. Myron's gold for that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. That's. I could keep going on and on and on about the book, but we're gonna keep it nice and short, bro. We're gonna keep it nice short. We already 20 minutes over, so we'll see what we gonna continue next week. But Man, this is the first one. I had a lot of fun already, bro, because this
Yeah.
conversation that I have all the time anyway. So I think it not only fuels me and fulfills me, but I feel like it also provide in a lot of value to our audience as it grows. So yeah, man, that's really much I have for today, and I'm looking to doing many more with you, bro. And I actually can't wait till Patch hear that part because I know he
Oh
gonna have
man, he's
something to
gonna
say.
lose it, man. Oh my gosh.
I know he gonna have something to say. I can't wait till Patch probably gonna be on the show soon because I know he have something to say.
Yeah. That's gonna be
Yeah,
fire.
yes, sir, bro. Well, close us out, bro. What you got?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I'm just glad to be on here. You know, to be chosen to get the call to say, "Hey, do you want to do this podcast with me?" Right? Because a lot of people won't get the invite. You know, so I'm just glad to have that invitation and to be on this platform to share my thoughts to people. Because at the end of the day, it's not even about us. So we're giving our experience and spreading it to everybody else, so then they could get a different experience, right?
There we go. And actually, let me say this too. Um, as we close out, this journey is also gonna be not only us telling our experiences and telling our our perspective on the book, but also transformation because I just don't want to be on here giving information and not having no true transformation. So, as we learn stuff in the books and as we implement it, I definitely will come back and let y'all know how it worked, when it worked, how it worked for me, and just all of that. So it actually provide, real transformation. So I just want to let y'all know that as well.
Oh, plus, okay, I'll give it, and this is the last part. Plus, right, they say education without action is just entertainment. So we're just not
Yep.
reading. We go do the action because if not, we're just entertainers and entertainment.
There we go. There we go. So in order to be anyway, I don't know. That's it. That's it. That's it. Well, other than that, bro, appreciate your time today, and
Yes, sir.
I'll see you again next week. Thank y'all, everyone that listened today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned for more. We up out of here.
Let's go.